Let's get into a super thanks to lead off today's mailbag. $20. Thank you, Michael. After a long day of work, I walk in the door. I look at my phone and see a YouTube notification. I read Cowboys sign. I tap the video. Is it Lamb? Is it Dak? Cowboys going to make a splash. I see Tom, dedicated Tom Downey, hard at work, reporting after hours, above and beyond for Cowboys Nation, to find out we're signing Royce Freeman. Royce Freeman, a third-round pick who was cooked before he even stepped on foot on an NFL field and lost his job to a UDFA. This may be a low point for me as a Cowboys fan. The vibes are very bad. They really are. And I apologize for that. But we are here for you guys every single day with videos, even if the Cowboys make us feel bad in the process. There will be plenty of therapy sessions this next year plus on the Cowboys Report, so don't miss out. Hit that sub button right now. From Joshua, let Dak walk, trade up for Shedeur Sanders as quarterback one, do what it takes to get Deion as head coach in 2025. So it's a plan, and I appreciate that. Number one, I don't foresee Deion Sanders coming to the NFL. The things that make him work as a college coach, at least we think make him work as a college coach, don't apply to the NFL. And Deion himself has said he doesn't want to be an NFL head coach. By the way, I do think we're getting a little bit far out over our skis. I won 4 games last year. I want to see him be better. I believe in Coach Prime, but I want to see more than that before I make him the Cowboys head coach. By the way, if Shedeur plays well, I think he can, and becomes the consensus quarterback one, how are you getting up there? How are you getting from, let's just say, pick 20 to pick number 2, whatever, to get him? That team drafting 2 is probably going to want him. That's why you can't go get Drake May right now. That's why you can't go get Caleb Williams right now, because those teams are going to take that quarterback. That's why if you wanted to ensure you could get Shedeur, you should have tanked this year and started that process earlier. Joshua says round 1, J.C. Latham. Round 2, Zach Frazier. Round 3, I love Brandon Doris. That's one of my guys. Round 5, Logan Lee. I'm actually not as high on Logan Lee as you are, but that's okay. It's a round 5 pick. Xavier Thomas and Talia Tungavailoa. I love those first 3 picks. Latham, I think he played left guard for you. I don't know if he can really play left tackle, but that's okay. You're getting a good player. Love Zach Frazier in the second. Love Dorlus in the third. Lee is, I'm not as sold on. Xavier Thomas, great. 7th round edge, sure. Maybe he finally lives up to that 5-star expectation. I think that's a camp arm in the 7th, but it's a 7th. You literally can't have a bad 7th round pick. Jeff, is there a player you would trade up for? Yeah, there are players that I'll probably have a top 10 grade on, are going to get to 15 or 16 or 17. And I go, I want that guy. But I am so light on draft capital this year. Makes it really tough to do. Did I trade a future second? That might intrigue me maybe a little bit more, but then I'm sacrificing future capital for a team that isn't actually all in right now. That's really tough for me. So do you want the Cowboys to trade up in the 2024 NFL Draft? Y for yes, N for note the pin comment of today's video. Dwayne, which player or players think will fall out of the first round but wasn't expected to? If that happens, you're probably looking for maybe Johnny Newton, because Johnny Newton for me is this year's Brian Branch. I am higher on him than most people. Not everyone else is, but he's awesome. He should go early. There's probably a medical guy that slides. Maybe it's Liatu Latu. Maybe it's Jackson Powers Johnson. Maybe it's a guy like Michael Penix, because quarterback going top 15 ends up sliding down a little bit there. Maybe A.D. Mitchell falls if some of the football effort stuff is a concern for teams. There will be somebody, but predicting it is easier said than done. Chris B., you think wide receiver round 1 is a real option? Saw it recently. That was in the Peter Schrager mock draft, which we did break down, by the way, on the channel. Make sure you're subbed. I'd be pretty shocked. Wide receiver is a luxury pick for a team that can't afford a luxury pick at the moment. They don't have, and they need at least 1, if not 2, offensive linemen. They need defensive line depth there. They want a linebacker. They need a starting back. They would love to get some other defensive help there. Yeah, you could use a wide receiver 3 or in a long-term 2, Well, I think that's more of a luxury unless someone like a Brian Thomas falls to you, which at that point, I think the Bills are going to trade up in front of you. It's a good day 2 class, though. Maybe you take one there. Today's show is made possible by our good friends over at Prize Picks. With Prize Picks, you can win up to 100 times your money by getting in on the basketball playoff action. Playoffs underway. April 20th should be a fantastic time of the year. And they're even going to give you a couple little special offers, weekly promotions that Prize Picks tends to offer, and an enormous selection of players and stat types. It's what makes Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. They also offer Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account this basketball season. Now, in general, I always advise the flex play because you got a better chance of winning. Get one wrong, come out on top. But when Prize Picks gives you a freebie, when they give you Nikola Jokic half a point, you take the more than and you run, and then I'm going to pair with less than Joel Embiid. We'll see how dumb I look in a very short period of time here because I don't trust him in the playoffs, unfortunately. And Jokic more than 50.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Blazing Daily, am I the only one who wants JPJ and kick Tyler Smith to left tackle? I don't think so at all. And I think depending on how the board falls, might be your best option outright. And if the medical stuff's real, maybe you can even trade down and get him. So I would, if they take Jackson Powers-Johnson round 1, you will not hear any complaining from me unless there's something weird going on in terms of someone's on the board. But that seems almost impossible with where he'll be ranked on my personal board. A $50 super chat from Dwayne Jackson. With the Jones boys incompetence in fumbling Dak's contract not once but twice, I know Dak must be frustrated with the Jones boys' negligence. Would you be surprised if Dak asked for a trade? Yes, for a couple different reasons. Number one, I do genuinely believe, and his brother has said this too, that Dak at his heart wants to be a Cowboy. He wants to make it work in Dallas. He wants to win a championship here. Also, he doesn't have to get a trade to get paid. Other guys like Tiggins, for example, asking for a trade because there's team control for this year and next year on them. That's not the case for Dak Prescott. He is months away, hypothetically, from either getting to choose his next team at almost a blank check status or probably taking a little bit less to come back to Dallas because the Jerry Jones boys never lose the deal. So I don't think he'll ask for a trade, but you do run the risk of him saying, I'm just not going to come back. And that's, if your girlfriend breaks up with you and you know it's not going to work, maybe you'd rather do the one that does the breaking up to save some face and set yourself up for a little bit more success. From Chris B, hope we can trade down, get a third or a fourth. I think if you were to get an honest answer from the Cowboys, I think they would like to trade down. And they would like to get more assets. Easier said than done, though. From Marshall, what hurt troubled player will the Cowboys draft in round 2? The old Blue Star special. 2 names. Peyton Wilson out of NC State, who I love his ability. That would be a top 30 player for me in this class pretty easily. The medical concerns are massive. Jonathan Brooks out of Texas. Torn ACL. That scares me for a guy coming off the injury who is going to have to be your lead back, right? If one of those guys, if I get even money on one of those guys being your second round pick, I'd take it so hard. What is your confidence level in the Cowboys drafting? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Blazing Daily, Freeman is just another Ronald Jones SMH. Very real chance that's what this ends up being. There is one thing that Royce Freeman does offer that is different than what Ronald Jones offers, namely special teams ability. Royce Freeman can play on special teams. Ronald Jones didn't. So in a fight for RB3, RB4, Ronald Jones lost all of those because if he wasn't playing actual offense, there was no value there. Freeman at least does offer that a little bit. From Kamara Gaming, think about Johnny Wilson, receiver from FSU as a day 3 pick. Day 3, I'm in. I still don't really know if he's a wide receiver or a tight end, and depending on who you ask, you'll get different answers there around the NFL. But, again, Darren Waller, Devin Funchess, which one is he? I got a 4th early-ish round grade on him, so yeah, I'd have no complaints there on day 3. Gives you size, too. Charlie Chambers, think about a late 6th or 7th round pick on a return man like Anthony Gold, since you need 2 deep and with Pollard gone, Turpin running mate. I don't know if you necessarily need 2 deep, but because I'm very curious how this will end up being deployed by Bones Fossil. I also think that with the rule changes, you might not be as scared about jeopardizing somebody else's injuries. I think you can put somebody else out there because the hits aren't going to be as violent. I think the injury risk goes down there. But I do think you've picked a great name as a return man. Anthony Gold, Calvin Austin, Jakeem Grant comp, I think are really good there. That's the Oregon State receiver. I got a 5th/6th round grade on him right now. So if you can get him in the 6th, yeah, I'm all aboard with that. And it gives you another maybe better receiver than what Turpin is too. From Travion, that's how it's pronounced. Is there a scenario in which O-line isn't the pick in round 1? I do think that there's a possibility there. Maybe the board falls either great for you, and like Byron Murphy's there or something, or a defensive player you love, or the bong photo leaks from Malik Neighbors and he falls. I don't know. Or maybe more likely, the O-line get picked early. Like it happened with the Kenyon Green, Zion Johnson draft. They all went early, ended up taking Tyler Smith, worked out fine for you. Maybe you still take an offensive lineman. Maybe you trade down into the back end or even out of round 1 altogether if the board falls the right or wrong way. I think there is a scenario, but I would bet my money on offensive line. I would be a little surprised if it wasn't. Who do you want the Cowboys to draft in the 1st round this year? Sound off for me in the comment section right now. Tim Hoover, I'm a huge Tennessee Volunteers fan, and picking Jaylen Wright would be a big boost for Dallas. I am back in the good graces of Tennessee fans. I have upset them before. I called Juwan Jennings slow, which he was, and I had a bet for charity that he wouldn't go in the 2nd round. I offered to still make the donation after he got drafted, and the person blocked me. Which was interesting. But because I actually had a 5th round grade on Jennings. I was higher on him than the NFL was. I call it a win. The offense is kind of fake, but in terms of like making it a great college offense, I have Wright as my number 2 back this year. I might be crazy on that one. Double O Sports, does the Freeman signing affect next year's comp picks? So it could if it were expensive enough. There is a monetary threshold it has to hit. If you come in below like it's about $3 million, it doesn't impact the comp pick formula. It's called a non-qualifying signing. And the Freeman contract is not going to qualify. There's going to be about $200,000 guaranteed, I'd bet, and even if it's that figure, and basically the vet minimum. So it will not, in the end, impact the comp pick formula.